Hello, welcome back to my channel, Benita Afrobomb TV, and as you already know from the title, today's video is just an update on a previous video that I made about my move to Houston. So if you haven't already seen that video and you somehow made it to this video first, it may make a little bit more sense if you watched the first video, but it's just an update. So I don't want this to be long, I want to get started, but before we get started, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell so that you get notifications when I post. Okay, so first, to get started, especially if you're watching this after seeing the first video, when I first graduated from Florida A&M, from FAMU, I wanted to move to Houston. So before deciding to move to Houston, I've never been to Texas at all. The only time I stopped in Texas was for a connecting flight in which I didn't even leave the airport, and that was from Dallas to Hong Kong. So literally, I just decided to pack up things and move. Now, one thing that I don't think you'll truly understand, and one thing I definitely didn't understand prior to being here in Houston, because I did move, as you can see in this new background, my new spot, y'all, it's cute. Houston, think of it like this. Houston is a center, right? And the surrounding areas are suburbs of Houston. And I say suburbs for the most part because especially as you go north, like I was in the Woodlands, it's more like grassland, trees. It's less like high rises, buildings, more apartments. It's less like that, and it's more rural. So having that first experience moving from Tallahassee into what I thought was Houston, until being there I realized I was in the Woodlands, was kind of it was a heartbreak because like I said, coming from an HBCU, one thing that was very important to me was being in an area surrounded by Black people, being in an area surrounded by culture, being in an area surrounded by people who understand me without necessarily saying, hey, I understand you, or without having to do extra research. People just also having the experience of a African in America, or just a minority. There's a lot of things that I've experienced and a lot of knowledge that I have and things I'm passionate about that it can be conflicting if taken out of that environment of empowerment. So the Woodlands, to be honest, I like the Woodlands. I like it to hang out, to work. I work over in the Woodlands. I have 2 jobs, and both of my jobs are in the Woodlands. So it's not like I've completely gotten away from the Woodlands. I'm there every day because I work every day, but I like that I have a balance. So for me personally, the Woodlands is like it's more of a family type of environment. Most people are, married with children, already established or further in their career than someone who graduated from college less than 400 days ago. So it's like you're already experiencing different people. Then on top of that, like I was saying, there's like one Black person every 5 miles in the Woodlands. And so that was hard. I already came out here not knowing anyone. And on top of that, one of the things that I'm most passionate about, one of the things that are constantly on my psyche, I can't even express because I'm not surrounded by people who are necessarily like-minded. And that was hard. On top of that, the Black women or people who are out there, again, are already established in a career or are mothers. And it's like, that's okay to be a mom, but I'm single in the sense of I file my taxes for myself. Like I don't have any dependents. I am not married. I don't have any of that. Everything that I do, all my bills, everything is done for and by Jordan. So being in that situation and wanting to go here and wanting to do this and wanting to go this and being surrounded by beautiful Black women every 20 days and they have children or other things that I don't have, gives us that slight difference that makes it hard to connect. So now I moved into what is Houston. Now, literally think about it like this. If there was a sign that said, you are now entering Houston, and someone put a flag there, you're in Houston. They put a flag there. I'm like 0.5 miles from the flag. So I'm far enough to tell people in the Woodlands that I'm in Houston, but I'm not in like downtown. You know, if someone's like, oh, where do you live? I do live in Houston. My address actually now says Houston. The one that I had before said the Woodlands or Magnolia, depending on where you were typing it. But now I am in Houston. And I love it. It's the best decision ever. So the biggest difference is, again, me, 24 years old. My neighbor above me, he's a new neighbor. He's probably like, black man, he's probably like 27, maybe. The girl next door is probably she's somewhere between 20 and 30. And the girl directly next door to me is same, somewhere between 20 and 30. So right here in our building alone is all young adults, working class people. In the Woodlands, I was the broke one. And I was working as hard as I could. Now, of course, since I moved into the city, people are like, okay, well, your rent actually is higher. My rent is actually lower. I did get lucky when it was time to sign my lease. My square footage is only about, I think it's 75 square feet smaller, which sounds like a lot, but because like the way it's spatially designed, it doesn't really seem like it's that much of a difference. It doesn't feel that much smaller, and my room's actually bigger. Here, there's restaurants and there's taco trucks everywhere. A big problem that I was having out in the Woodlands is there were places to eat, of course, but some of them were too high for me to afford, and I'm just gonna keep it honest. And some of them were like, just like your chain restaurants. Out here, you have a lot of mom and pop places. So I literally can walk this way to a taco truck. I can walk that way to a taco truck. I can go here, I can go over there. There's like a street that once I turn out on and keep going and then take another left. And it's not far, basically. It's like all these different like African markets, Asian markets. There's a Jamaican restaurant. There's another restaurant that's, I think it's just called the Caribbean or something like that. It's a Caribbean restaurant, and it's all like right here. And it's all within 15 minutes with traffic. So it's like, that is the culture that I needed. That's the culture that I missed. And it's just so frustrating because the whole time being in the Woodlands, I understood how close I was to that type of environment, but I was missing that. And on top of that, like I was going home from work, and then my neighborhood again wasn't diverse. Then when I go to work, of course, the work environment wasn't it. My work environment is not as diverse. And then the clientele and the customers that are, you know, that I'm servicing, it's not diverse either. So literally, like, I kind of fell into like a little bit of a depression because I was not able to relate and connect to people who were in my environment. Now, there were a few, of course. I found a few friends and people who I have commonalities with. But again, some of the things that I'm more passionate about, I wasn't able to talk. I wasn't able, especially with the social climate and everything that's happening and the injustices and everything that's going on. And then you got people coming in here, you know, representing the opposition. And I'm just like, I don't have anyone to vent, I don't have anyone to talk to. So then that led me to going to therapy, which I'll talk about in another session. But yeah, so that this is just to let you know that for me personally, and if you're anything like me, I knew that after leaving the HBCU and my experiences in my life thus far, I needed to live in a predominantly Black area or a city, state, whatever. And so at the time, Houston was number 7 It has since been surpassed by Dallas for cities with the largest Black population. So like, I was like, Houston, here I come. And then again, geographically not understanding everything, I was actually in the Woodlands. And again, working out there, hanging out there every now and then, cool. But living out there, it's not for me. The Woodlands is not for me right now. I don't have a family. I'm a young, single Black woman. Houston is where I feel happy and comfortable. And even with my neighbors here, it's just a kind of like a love and an unspoken like Black girl code. Like for an example, I ordered something from Fashion Nova, which I'll be doing a video on. And I was out. I think I got home. It was a late shift, and my neighbor, who I talk to her every time I see her. She has a dog. We interact. I have a dog. You know, we interact all the time. And she's like, "Oh yeah, you got a package." She's like, "I brought your package inside because I didn't want it outside and like someone takes it or anything. So I wanted to make sure you get your package." In the Woodlands, my package would have sat. My package would have sat right there. And like, maybe that's okay because nothing would have happened to my package possibly. But the fact that like she was looking out for me is that simple like unspoken girl code or unspoken Black woman code that I've been looking for. On top of that, everyone in my neighborhood is in the working class. Like I was saying, in the Woodlands, I also felt a disparity because I graduated college and I'm still looking or finding my career. I'm still looking and finding out what it is that I want to do for my next step in life. I'm not established yet. Like the jobs I'm working at, I enjoy both of them, but they're to pay my bills and fund my dreams. They're not things that they're not jobs that I'm like, 10 years from now, I'm gonna be the manager. Like, no, they're like, okay, here, you gotta do what you gotta do, keep it moving. I enjoy, you know, most of my coworkers. I interact with people without a problem, you know, but again, like I already have my vision in my head set on something else, and it's hard to have that futuristic vision when you're already with people who are established. I want people who are still learning and growing. Out here, again, everyone's working class. Like in the Woodlands, there would be people who, you know, are taking a jog around the neighborhood for their 10th time that day because their husband's at work and they're bored. And here, all of these women, all of these people are grinding and making ends meet, you know, and maybe a little bit more, but just working class. Also, my specific building and there's a couple of complexes down the street. It kind of reminds me of Philly because that's where I'm originally from. And I sent a picture to my sister. I'm like, doesn't this look like Philly? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I might be a little homesick. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like Philly. So it's just that overall vibe, and I feel happier here. I feel less stressed here. Like I said, I'm paying less in rent. I'm saving about $200 or so just on bills alone. My commute is further, but I'm around like a whole bunch of stuff. And right now, due to, you know, everything that's going on, you can't really do much. But when things eventually pick up, like I'm in a really good spot to like either go to the Woodlands and be bougie for a second, or to go downtown and still be bougie. It's a complete different vibe. Like look at the background. Like it's so cute and like it's just so nice. I'm so much happier. So I hope this answered any questions that you guys have. Again, if you're looking for a more like younger environment, you know, working class, adults still with a lot to do, exploring, having fun, you're gonna be looking more toward Houston or even Spring and Conroe. Once you go to Spring and Conroe, the economic status changes just a little bit, but not too much. But as soon as you venture all the way out to the Woodlands, or you go the other way out to Katy, you're starting to talk different tax brackets, okay? So overall, Houston's where it's at. I love it, and I hope this update was just enough for you. Thank you for watching. See you guys later.